Hi everyone, this is Felicia from Farmer Bailey and Garden Club Plants, and I'm here today with Katie Tolson from Seed-on-Hudson, and she's up in Westchester County, New York. And we're going to talk about her participation today in the book The Flower Farmers by Debra Prinzing and Avni, and some of her favorite crops and what she's up to with a cool new collective in Brooklyn. Hi, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me. Good to see
Yeah.
you.
It's nice to see you too. So tell me about your participation in the book. How did you get involved with the flower farmers?
I met Deborah and Robin a few years ago when they were in New York for the Slow Flower Summit, the annual one that we usually do in June. And then I've been a part of Slow Flowers ever since and have been attending their conferences. And they very graciously invited me to be a part of the book, which I was thrilled to be asked. And it's a project they've been working on for a few years now, so almost 2 years, I think, coming up. But yeah, it's just a beautiful book and so incredibly honored to be a part of it. But yeah, and I'm featured in it in the east northeast section. And the flower that I chose is Nicotiana, which is flowering tobacco. And it just talks about my family farm in Westchester County. I'm really close to the city. I'm just above the Bronx on the Hudson River. Yeah.
Great. So you have access to a really strong flower buying market, right, in New York City.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I supply flowers to a lot of designers in Westchester and Manhattan and Brooklyn. I do some retail. I sell a lot of wholesale. I have a small CSA, so a little bit of everything, and then pop-up markets for special holidays and seasons and things like that.
So why did you pick Nicotiana?
Um, well, we brainstormed on a lot of different flowers, and it was personally, I love night bloomers. I love night blooming flowers. I'm really into fragrance. And I kind of have a backstory in the sense that I grew up in LA in the Hollywood Hills, and as a young kid, we used to go hiking and climb through the hills a lot. And it's actually considered an invasive in life, but there is a flowering tobacco that we would pick and kind of like play with as kids. And I didn't really make the connection until I was growing it, but I started growing it from seed a few years ago. And it was the one flower that it was my gateway into wholesale a little bit. Like I was growing it, I had it late in the season, and I had designers that were like, oh my God, I love this. And that's and then the heirloom mums and that time of year, everyone was sort of excited by the fact that I have a later frost and I'm so much farther south that I do tend to have blooms much later in the season. So like into November, sometimes if I'm lucky, as long as Thanksgiving. So
Wow.
I picked it because it's fragrant and it's beautiful and it's kind of whimsical and yeah, I just love it. And it comes in so many different varieties. I mean, I love the grandiflora. I love the pure white, but it comes in pinks and purples and the greens and all different shapes of trumpets. So it's just a fun, and it can be huge. It's like some of these branches are just enormous. It gets to be really high in the field. So you can
Cool.
play with it a lot. So
And you're growing it outside in the field.
yeah, I grow out outside in the field.
When do you
Um,
start your seeds for it?
in the spring. Yeah. And then plant out like April, May. The nice thing about it too is it does reseed a lot. So I have a lot already already started for me in the field. Sometimes I'll just I have like when I've got people helping me, I'll just like replug it and put it where I want it. And it also is like it takes the heat really well. Like it doesn't mind hot, humid summers. And then it also can take a light frost and it also reseeds. So it's like it's a hard working, kind of amazing plant and
Yeah,
flower.
that sounds
Yeah.
awesome. I don't have a
Yeah.
lot of experience with that one, but I have heard from people that it makes a good cut and it's like
Yeah,
kind of a workhorse, like you said.
it does. And if you cut it at the right time, you'll get like a succession of blooms that will open. So it kind of has like a life beyond just what you're looking at when you cut it. So it keeps blooming.
Awesome. So your name of your farm is Seeds on Hudson.
It's Seed on Hudson. I picked it because at the time when I started as a nursery, actually. I started as like an heirloom um, veg, native plant, and herb, and well, fruit and flower nursery. I did a little bit of everything. Um, and I was really seed obsessed. And when I moved to Hastings-on-Hudson, which is where I'm located in Westchester County, they had a seed bank, seed exchange in the library, in our public library, which I thought was just freaking awesome. And so I was like, I went down a rabbit hole in seeds, like every kind of seed. And I was really seed obsessed. And I was like on Seed Savers and looking for incredibly like unusual and heirloom varieties of all sorts of things, tomatoes, everything. Don't just flowers. This is the beginning of, and so the name, that's kind of how the name came about, because I wanted it to be a hyper local, and I wanted it to be community based, but I was just like every kind of seed. So that's sort of, and I manage the public library seed exchange now too with our local Hastings pollinator pathway. So I'm
Oh,
still
that's
kind of
so
connected to
sweet.
that. But that's how the name kind of came about, more or less.
So we know you're good at starting from seeds, everything. But of course I have to ask, do you use any Farmer Bailey plugs or perennials in your production?
I do, I do. I'm trying your petunias for the first time this year, which I'm super excited about.
Love those.
I get your, like, I did my Lizzie's from seed last year, but I've supplemented with your plugs this year. So there's always like a little of both. I juggle both. So no, I've gotten lots. I've gotten your delphiniums, yeah, your digitalis. Yeah, I've gotten quite a selection of Farmer Bailey plugs. And
Yeah,
they're
there's
always
just,
great.
there's just a few things that are just annoying to germinate, and it's just like, why struggle with delphinium generation when you don't have to?
No, it's so true. Yeah, it's great.
Well, thank you for that. I
Of
appreciate
course.
that.
Yeah.
And then so I found out about this new flower collective, newish, I guess, the Brooklyn Aggregate from Debra Prinzing, who wrote the Flower Farmers book. I know she's doing an event there, a book reading.
Mhm.
And we were both at this like very cool open house gathering a few weeks ago. Such a vibe, so fun. I couldn't believe how many people were there, and we're just like
That
really
was cool.
excited. And you could buy a retail bunch out of the cooler, which was awesome. And they're also supplying to designers and wholesale clients. So why did you want to get involved in a collective? Like what about that was appealing to you?
Um, I found them, so they started last year. Now they have this gorgeous new space in Williamsburg, that's like open almost all week long. But I started with them last fall. I actually found them through a local florist of mine who was like, "Oh, have you heard about the flower aggregate? They're out in Brooklyn." And that's how I connected with Annie and Jess. Um, I I really love selling wholesale. I love the rhythm of it. I just love it. And so I was looking for another venue for wholesale, and I love that they're so forward thinking in like supporting local farmers, being sustainable, being soil like focused, like all of everything that's important, near and dear to me when I'm growing, they're really supportive of. Um, and yeah, and it's great because they've got such a variety coming in from all different farms, that it was a really good fit. And for me, I'm like pretty close to Brooklyn. Like I can get there, you know, in a good amount of time. And if I go down at night, it's an easy fit. And I had mums later than everyone. So that's how we started, actually, was the heirloom chrysanthemums in the fall. And so, yeah, it's been great. It's a really great space, really great farmers, really good, like just a whole variety of crops. So I'm really happy, and I'm excited for what it's going to do this year because it's growing. So that's exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone there seemed really cool. It was like a very friendly and welcoming environment as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all the flowering branches, like when you walked into that open house, I was like, wow, really great. Just the whole vibe was beautiful.
They were huge too. They were cut it. There was like so many branches that were taller than me. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, if I was an event designer, I would have been knocked out by that like dramatic, kind of presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bought a bunch of butterfly ranunculus like for the house.
Oh, nice.
So pretty. I'm like, look how iridescent they are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My entire family gets way too much information from me about flowers. But thank you so much for talking to me
Yeah,
today.
of
And
course.
I'm really looking forward to going to the Flower Farmers book signing and like hanging out at that event. And if anybody didn't see it, here it is, Flower Farmers. And congratulations on your
Thank
inclusion.
you.
And have
Yeah,
a
no,
great,
it's
yeah,
really exciting.
yeah,
I'm happy to be a part of it. And I'll see you at the event in June, hopefully.
yeah, awesome. And have a great season. Happy spring.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, bye,
Nice to see
Katie.
you, Felicia. Bye.